Welcome to the AI for Interior Designers podcast, where creativity meets cutting edge technology. In each episode, we dive deep into the world of artificial intelligence and explore how it's revolutionizing the interior design industry. From AI powered design tools to the latest trends and innovations, we've got you covered. So plug in, relax, and let's embark on this exciting journey together. Welcome to AI for Interior Designers podcast. P.S. This intro was written by and voiced by AI to sound like your host, Jenna Gaidusek.
Hey designers, welcome back for episode 61 of the AI for Interior Designers podcast. I'm your host, Jenna Gaidusek, and just me this week. I got some other guests that I will have on in future episodes, but I've been so busy I haven't even had a break in my schedule to record with them. So quick little episode today, but I wanted to talk about something that I kind of alluded to last week on episode 60 when I was talking about like the tech and where we're at right now. But this one is for those of you that feel like there's too many apps. Like, I feel like every single day for the past 2 years, I have gone on to like my Instagram, and maybe it's just because I do this and, I follow AI, thought leaders and tools. But the amount of apps that were created during this like AI gold rush boom in the past 2 years was insane. And I'm sure that you can probably relate to that, right? Like it feels like there was a interior design app every 5 seconds coming across my feed. And I don't know if that's because it's like this low hanging fruit where like, developers feel like, oh, well, we can just build these apps because that's what people want. They want to be able to redecorate their house very quickly and efficiently, but like they don't know the first thing about interior design, style, or the process. Because they are web developers and have no business building apps for interior designers without interior designers' input. So those apps that we have been seeing, for the past few months or years pop up have started to slowly disappear. Have you noticed that? I still got a few that they put some money behind the ads and they're still out there where it's like, oh, redecorate your room in a minute and here's the outcome. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, that's not even the same room. Like this is your ad for this app. Oh my gosh, it's rough. I mean, if you open a app and you see that they have preset styles such as boho, Scandinavian, mid-century modern, and that's your choices to be able to redecorate your room, point blank that a developer made that and not a true interior designer, because we don't just design one style. Like we don't go, that's Scandinavian. Okay, let me just pull everything from the Scandinavian catalog and start putting this in here. Like, come on. It's cheap. It's cheap. That's what it is. Like these apps are what developers were like, oh yeah, AI's out here and I'm going to make this app because I think it's going to make me a lot of money, because notoriously people just have always wanted to DIY their house, right? And so of course we need the stage your room app type thing. So that's why there's 10,000 of those out there and very few other apps, because people thought that was going to be a good idea. It's interesting because there's still like you can go on the App Store and find again 10,000 of them, but they're starting to go away. Have you noticed that? They are starting to become obsolete. And I was waiting for this day for a while, where we have this almost breaking point where the developers that came for our industry and tried to cheapen it and go around interior designers are now getting their day. And I love that for us. What does that mean? That means that the developers overdeveloped and they started to create a way for designers or anybody to utilize this technology and made it so simple that we can create our own apps now. So why do we need developers anymore? I guess is my main question. Why do we need to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to develop an app, which By the way, I did. My previous company was called eDesign Tribe, and I created an eDesign platform and software that included a custom API for a rendering program and the development with that, and connecting it to another software that I created, which basically created embeddable shopping lists that link to any of your affiliate sites if you wanted to upload those into a blog post, or your website or a client portal or whatever. It's just an embeddable frame that after you add all your affiliate links or product selections, it would go there. And then it kind of connected over to the other side, which was the rendering portion. So you had a shopping list, you had renders, you could put all of this into your website landing page or just send it to your client. So that was acquired by My Doma Studio back in 2022. But I've been building apps and programs and software since 2018 is when I first hooked up with my developer. So I have spent, and I am not kidding, hundreds of thousands of dollars on app building. And I don't think people know that. I don't think people really realize the investment that I put in and the time and the years of development that I put into creating those programs, when now I can build those apps in a day. And I can build those apps myself, and I can build those apps for about $20. So that alone kind of goes to show where we're at with this technology, and that it is now accessible to everybody to be able to create internal apps that are run on and powered by the AI technology that exists currently. Okay. I want the designers here listening to think about this in a different way. All right. You're not tech people, probably, right? So think about all these apps that are out there. They didn't all create their own AI programs. They didn't all just create their own models for their apps and train them and, like spend hours and maybe decades building these. No, they didn't. They are developers that said, oh, awesome. There's great tech over at OpenAI with ChatGPT, and there's great technology with Gemini or Claude by Anthropic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take their hence OpenAI, their open source basically technology, and you pay per credits and stuff like that, but for usage. And I'm going to take those because they're open and available, and I'm just going to adapt that into my program. And then I'm going to build, custom solutions around that AI that I have integrated into my app. So it might not be exactly what you could do over on ChatGPT. We're going to build off of that, and we're going to build something bigger, and we're going to have it do this other thing with what you can do over there. So it makes it different. So it makes it so that you don't need to go to ChatGPT and create images. You can pay me for my app every single month instead. And I simplify it and I make it a little bit better for you. But if you think about where they needed to get that source API, that source AI that's going to connect to their tool, it's wholesale. If you think of it that way, okay? If you think of it as a wholesale vendor that the average everyday person probably has in their home, right? But they bought it off of a retailer online through another party, and they didn't know who the main manufacturer was for that product. They just used the end result. And maybe that designer has, connected all of these different brands and put them all into a space. That is how apps are built, okay? In this point in time right now, to put it in simple terms. They are utilizing either one AI tool or multiple AI tools, and they are then restructuring how those tools work inside to either play nice together, to work well, because all these models do something a little bit different. Some are better at writing, some are better at research, some are better at searching the internet, and others are really great at creating images or color palettes or videos, right? So they're basically taking all these components and then putting them into one app and saying, okay, here's a package deal, here's a workflow, you just need this one thing. So you may be paying for an AI app that somebody has done that to. It's probably an interior design app. And so they have started connecting all of these different like wholesale, for lack of a better word for who I'm speaking to today, options, and put them together into their room or app that they created and came out with something totally different. Okay. And people love it, right? It's great. It's functional. You don't have to be going to ChatGPT or Gemini and having these conversations that are endless to get the same result that you can now get in this app that basically cut to the chase. Like it just knows what it's doing. And you come here, you do that thing, and then you leave, you get your results, right? So what is the main difference? Like if you were to just sign up for ChatGPT for $20 a month or go to Google Gemini and use Nano Banana through the chat, you can do that. You can 100% do that. But with these apps, they have basically harnessed, for lack of a better AI term, they have harnessed the technology into like what they want it to do. Okay, so they have trained it, machine learning, they have trained it to do that thing just better than if you were to go to ChatGPT and have that conversation. Okay. So that's basically like, long story short, hopefully that was easier to follow, or at least opens your eyes to like what is happening with these apps out there right now. These people aren't building this technology themselves. Like they are adapting the existing technology and picking and choosing and streamlining how that works within their app. But like I said in the beginning, if you're building apps as a developer for interior design and your goal is really the largest market, right? Because you're not building for interior designers, you're building for everybody, because that pays out more than just a smaller segment of people that would be wanting to download your app. So they're going for, again, the low hanging fruit. They are looking for the largest population to pay them monthly money to use their app. So they don't care about our industry. They don't. Like they built this to be profitable for themselves. So I love seeing these closing down because, first of all, you came for us. Like we didn't want this. Like you came for us. We are trained professionals, and you tried to ruin and tell people that like what we do does not, it could be boiled down to an app. Like come on now, if you knew anything about the industry, like it's just not true. So coming at this with my perspective and with my years of technology and being an interior designer myself, like I created apps, and I have been and I will continue to do so, using the technology, using what's called vibe coding, I guess, which is really just chat based coding, because I don't code. Like I can read a lot of code, I can change things that need to be changed, but I'm not I didn't go to school for computer science, like I'm self-taught, I guess you could say, just because of what I've done in my career. But now it's accessible enough to me and to anybody else that is a nerd like me that wants to build this for yourself. We can do that, and we can build it on our process and our flow in things that actually make sense. Like the fact that I would never in a million years put in an app specific design styles to choose as a cookie cutter template. Like number one, that is the first thing that I would never put into an app that I'm building for interior designers, because if you are a professional interior designer, you are not going to an app and saying, oh yes, mid-century modern, let's see how that looks in this empty space. You're just not doing that. Like, I mean, you might have, because that was the only option out there. But if you are a professional, you know that mid-century modern is just a simple, like one style, and that our clients come to us because mid-century modern or modern farmhouse didn't cut it when they went to Pinterest or they used their ChatGPT themselves to create what they interpreted as that design style. We know people in the real world in the real world are way more complex than a simple label of style, right? And that's what sets us apart from just going to the computer and like typing in something and then reverse image searching on Google, where you're going to find results that have paid to be there. And then they're going to be junk. Like the retailers that sell on those reverse image sites like Google and stuff is just crap for the most part. Like it's Walmart that I'm seeing come up, like it's not high end. No person that will pay and values what interior designers and professionals do would reverse image search maybe their designer's work and say, "Oh, I found that chair on Target's website. I'm going to buy it from there," and not spend the 2,500 for that one chair that you said is so comfortable, made in the US, will last me a lifetime, hard, it's got a kiln dried frame, it's 8-way hand tied. I'm going to go buy that one on Target. That client is not the same. Okay? Like, they're two entirely different people. And I think that the bespoke, the custom app building that we're going to see hit this industry, and I'm calling it now because it's starting. And when you all are building your own apps in a year, you're going to hopefully remember this episode, because this is where we're going. This is where you are now going to be able to stop canceling all of these little piece together applications that you have and really create something that is a flow that fits your process and gives you everything that you need in one place. Okay? Because that's the major issue, right? Like, how many apps are you paying for right now? I have spent my entire past 2 months trying to go through and cancel apps. Half of them I can't even figure out how to cancel. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like the amount of money I was spending on apps, and I understand, like, I had to test them. So I was doing that for some. But the amount of apps that I was spending that did a fraction of what I actually needed it to do, and then I had to hop over here and pay for this other one and then pay for that one, and then like you got to add more seats for other people, and then it escalates quickly. It's like, what are we doing? Like, are we really like following the dictation of web developers for how we build our design process? They don't know the first thing about what we do unless if they are married to an interior designer, which, by the way, those guys make the best apps. And I'm just going to say that right now. They have a special place in my heart because I've met a few husband-wife teams. I will say my Doma, to start out with, I'm actually speaking to another one now that I got to meet as well. But those teams, the husbands or wives that make the apps for a need in their client, in their wife's process with their clients, those ones make sense. Not the ones that are like, I'm going to build this to make money and go to everybody. So it's the ones that understand process, can speak intelligently to their husband or developer or, like whoever that person is that's close to them. And they have this constant line of communication where it's like, designers need this, they don't need this, we need to include this over here, this would make their life easier, and then listening to that and then implementing that. That's the difference. Okay, I mean, that's really the difference with apps that are surviving right now, from this whole AI gold rush, and then the ones that have closed. And if you listen to this podcast, unfortunately, I think a lot of the apps that I interviewed earlier in the year or earlier in my episodes are either no longer or they've kind of backed off for this reason, because now you can just go to Gemini and have a conversation, or you can talk to ChatGPT and create the images, like, why would I pay you $50 when I can do this for $20 and so much more internally, right? So like, we're starting to see these pull back, and the ones that are surviving are the ones that are not just doing that one thing that now, like, the AI model itself can do. They are the ones that are like more robust and do all of these little pieces and do them well, and are more niche, but also have been built on outside of just what the regular AI can do. You know what I mean? Like, so, they get all these pieces. Let me just kind of go back to that. They're getting all these wholesale little components. They're putting them all together in an app. And if you don't build around that for context and for other things like, you know, the AI model can't do this. So that's why you need this app, because we can do this. Those are the ones that are sticking around. But for how long? For how long until ChatGPT or Claude or whatever can do the thing that your app can do and will do it for a fraction of the price? So we're starting to see a lot of these apps get swooped up by these larger companies, which I also think is interesting. Just this week, I got an email from Visual Electric, who has been one of my favorite image creators, visuals for interior designers. And I've talked about it for a very long time, right? They were just acquired by Perplexity, which, like, yes, guys, I'm so happy for them. I think that's awesome because I love Perplexity. Like, if you've heard me talk about Perplexity or Comment, like, the thing that was lacking there was the images. So I'm actually really pumped to see where that's going to go, because they were both somewhat similar. Well, they are similar. Where Perplexity is not an AI model itself, it just uses and then frameworks all of the, not all, but a lot of AI models internally. So like, if you ask this question, this model over here is better to answer that. If you ask this question, then this model is better to answer that question. So there, it's kind of like just this turbo like AI wholesale. I don't even know how to describe it, but it is a lot of different models inside of one for $20. Okay. It doesn't do what all those full models do. It does its own thing. It's always been really good at searching the internet. Now it's an entire browser. I mean, there's so much more to it. But for some people, why would they need a ChatGPT account and to pay for that? You know what I mean? So kind of going back to like where those two are similar. With what you can do with Perplexity and having it be like the wholesale, or I keep saying wholesale, but it's like the collection of models. And then Visual Electric was basically, it turned into very similar model in the recent months, because it started adding ChatGPT, it started adding Gemini and other, I want to say Imagen was in there too, but you could basically say, okay, I want to create videos or images, because that's what it was for image creation. And I want to, select a certain tool, or you choose the best tool for the prompt that I'm going to give you. So it was kind of like this, and I say was, like, it still exists. You could go use it now, I'm sure. But it basically was just like Perplexity, where it's a combination of different models, but they have trained it to do something and, like, have an outcome, have a specific outcome that you cannot get inside of the other programs. For instance, like inside of Visual Electric, if you wanted to create, 4 images at a time, you could do that. But if you were using Gemini or Google, you're going to get one at a time. Sometimes they try and sneak into and ChatGPT images, and it's like, okay, why did you do that? Because these are both terrible, and you could have just put your brain power to one. But this always did it like that. Like, if you wanted one option or one picture, 2 pictures, 3 pictures, 4 pictures, you just choose. But it's different than what the AI model was doing itself, because you get your results faster, you could fine tune them, but it was using that wholesale AI to power and connect all these different models inside of one. So I'm seeing acquisitions like that one with the good programs that are actually, different than what these models were doing. And then I'm seeing these apps that had no substance because they really had no business being there, to be honest. Like these AI, like the design your home with ChatGPT, but really it's just, my app as a wrapper for ChatGPT. Those are closing, and those are not getting acquired, because why? Why would ChatGPT acquire something that was just a wrapper for ChatGPT that was trying to gain their, get their money? So it's interesting to kind of look back at when they opened up all of this AI to everybody to be able to use. And as they, were encouraging people to use their tools and to build these apps, the whole time I was kind of watching it like, are they having them build these apps, having developers come in here, use their technology and build these apps so that they could either take what they've built using their model and then just do it and put this company out of business, in their next round of updates? Or are they having people use this open technology and build these apps and then develop outside things where then they could go and acquire them eventually? And then it's just this big conglomerate of all of the apps that were out there. And I see that being a win for the people that were acquired and a massive loss for all of those that created these apps that are no longer, they're all obsolete at this point, So I don't know. This is just me like just thinking. I don't know. But I don't know exactly what the goal was or the intention there. I'm sure people do know what that probably was, but I don't know. I'm just in my own little bubble over here where I'm like, okay, I'm going to explore all these. I'm going to see my perspective. And that was it. That's my perspective. I just told it to you. um, let's talk about like what we can expect going forward. Okay. So I have been building lots and lots of these apps. I have been building them on a variety of different programs that, let's see how I'm going to explain this. Okay. There's programs out there that are for building apps. Okay. One of them that I do like is called Base 44. There's others out there. There's like Bolt, there's Famous, there's tons. Okay. Just look it up if this is something you want to do. I have tested these programs all summer. I built probably close to like 30, 40 apps. And I have found that going directly to Gemini and utilizing like Nano Banana and the Google AI to create apps in different product suites, chatbots, calendars, time trackers, and of course full-fledged interior design workflows where you're not taking, from this app and then pushing it over here and then going over here for video or trying to extract and find products, that type of thing from images. I've been building workflow apps that just do that because I have a client right now that I'm working with, and I basically was like, hey, do you mind if I just use this as an example for my trainings? And she's wonderful. She's an older client of mine from a few years ago, and she's, doing a new house. So she's like, yeah, absolutely, that's fine. And I was like, thank you. Because now I'm going to build an app to be able to solve and design this house. And that's what I did. That's what you would find if you go to the daily right now and you look at the light app that I just released. That's the light version of what I created. The other one is full blown. Like you can do all of the things in a workflow, and it is pretty wild. But that's for another day. Right now we're in beta. So right now I'm just kind of getting this stuff out there. I'm testing with those of you that are in my daily membership, which by the way is only $29.99 a month. You get a ton of videos, prompts, and now you get to test my apps as I'm releasing them. So this is the start of something, but going back to the Base 44, I did try building on, those apps, and I built some really great apps, like really fully functional things. But I feel like every time I would make a change, even after locking certain pages, other stuff would just change. Very similar to what happens with our images when we're creating them. If you change one part of this app with like vibe coding, as they call it, other pieces change. And so it's like, you're constantly chasing your tail to like fix little things. But when I build in Gemini, I just feel like it's more focused, but it doesn't have the back-end integrations and databases. So that's where it does get a little bit more tricky if you wanted to build your own apps, to like actually set it up to like logins that are secure, have storage, to have like, just stuff that remembers when you come back. Like you can build all these apps and they can do all these things and create the images or whatever, but retaining information, that is where it's just a little tricky for people that, might be new to this. And and I'll say, if you're new to this, it's going to be a lot tricky, but it can be done. Okay. And I guess that's maybe where developers will be coming in, is the setup and, making sure that your hosting, your security, that like things are functioning and maintaining and updating for new AI tools. That I can see as a really collaborative, role that even might become a position in a firm, or in, the furniture industry in general. If you have, if you're a retailer or a wholesaler and you want to have a developer, and if you don't already, you probably will start creating all these little mini apps or chatbots, and you will need somebody on staff, or that you can, what's the word I'm looking for? The one that doesn't exactly work for you, but starts with a C. Yeah. Okay, we'll come back to that. But contract. Oh, there we go. So you can contract developers for like monthly maintenance, for just hooking up stuff. But creating these apps is actually super easy, because all it is chatting. I say it's easy because I built so many apps before that I know what I want to do. So that's the other part, knowing where the technology is, where it's going, and what you can actually build right now, even though it'll tell you can build a lot, not necessarily true. Okay. So I want to leave you with this part, because this is the future. This is where designers and industry members are going to be able to reduce the amount of subscriptions that you have and start canceling and consolidating, which I've been doing all summer. I have to update my AI list, because honestly, it is a fraction of the size, because half of these programs have either shut down, been acquired, or are obsolete at this point. So I should update that to a list. I will link it below. It is free. It's on my website, and pull a few things off, because you all are going to be able to create your own app suite. Like, if it's not just one app, where maybe it's a client portal, or, it's your backend design process type thing for your entire team to use, you can create marketing or newsletters or social media that has been trained on your voice. Like, this is here. I do this now. Okay. And it's only going to get better. But for the average designer and designer team, you're not building apps. Like, I know that you're not. You don't have time to learn it, first of all. And it's not quite there where it is like, oh yeah, I can just do that and build an app and launch it. Like, we're close, but for the day-to-day person, not so much. I will say, when I first started like dabbling in all this, early in the summer, I did it with my 8-year-old daughter, and I said, "Elle, we're going to build an app today." So I recorded her as I was doing this, actually, just to see her face. And so the first app that I built using Base 44, before I figured out there was all these other things out there, was a skincare app that she had in mind for kids. So like, if you're, a 9-year-old girl, what are good things to do for skincare? Because this is like a whole thing with these kids these days. But like, what, how long do you brush your face? How long do you wash your face for? Should you moisturize? Should you wear sunscreen? Like, and then we built in this fun little, like, you scrub, like, you create an avatar and you can design them, and then you have to check in every day, or else she starts getting zits on her face. But if you want to wash her face in the morning, it is like an actual time. So it's the amount of time that you should be scrubbing your face in the morning, and you can do it with the app, and it's like clearing off the blemishes. And so it like makes sure you get all the zones. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but like, my daughter created that app as our first app together, just because she was like, that would be cool. That would be cool. And I'm like, yeah, that would be cool. Let's see if we can build it. And we did. Like, that was all her. If she wanted to build that herself, she could have. And so the difference between what we did there, though, was Base 44 is like all inclusive, where it has the backend setup, it has, your app building, and it has the databases and the logins. Okay. But if you were to just go over and build with like the raw components over on Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, there is more maintenance and setup for storage of things in the backend, if that makes sense. Probably not, but That's okay. That's all right. You're probably not going to build an app anyway, but you should know that maybe in a year you could be building an app because it will be accessible to you, or somebody on your team could be building these apps. So just consider when you're thinking about like positioning and jobs and the future of what this looks like. I don't want to sound cliche again, but like it's not replacing. It is simply replacing the need for 10,000 overpriced softwares that you use a fraction of. And you can now take it all in-house and control it like those of us that are designers like to do. Like we don't have to be at the mercy of somebody else. If it fails, that's on us. Like if it's not working, that's our problem. We don't need to go to somebody else. Like we need to fix it ourselves because it is built by us, maintained by us, and works exactly how we want it to. And that's kind of the the whole thing about it. Like if you own it, this is entirely yours. You own the licensing and the rights and the app. You don't rely on somebody else, but also like, you're not a renter anymore. You own this stuff, right? So just think about that. Just think about like where we're at, what exists, where it's going. And hopefully this opened your eyes to how this technology is kind of being put together and what these apps actually do. And should you be scared or not? And I would say don't be scared of any of these things. As I told you in the beginning, these apps that were built for this interior design industry were not built for us. They were built for the masses, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. So there's no good apps out there for interior designers to use that were created for homeowners. There's just not, because we're too smart for that. Like we know way too much more stuff than what those silly little apps are doing. So don't be worried, guys. When it comes to seeing those things, they are for a very specific person, and half of them are crap anyway. Like try a free trial. You'll see. It's like, what are we doing? What is this? Hire a designer. But anyway, there are a few apps out there that do kind of tailor to homeowners, but also do good things for interior designers. Like it's okay, yeah, you can use our app, but when you really want to hire a professional, here's a list of those. So that I can deal with, that I like, but they're few and far between. So anyway, that's all I got for today. I hope that this was insightful for you as to app building and the future and where you might be in a year, and shaving off some of these subscriptions that you have. I'm going to leave you with one final note. Don't do anything as an annual subscription. If you already have been doing that, stop doing that. Unless if it's things like ChatGPT, Gemini, like the core tools that if you ever wanted to build your own app, you could using their technology. If they use somebody else's and it's a wrapper around their app, don't pay too much for it. Don't do the annual, because you don't know if they're going to be here in a year. Okay? All right, guys, till next time, happy designing, and I will see you later. Bye.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of the AI for Interior Designers podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and tune in next week for more AI tips for your design business. See you next time.